The envelope had been taped behind a loose panel in the basement wall. It had been there for 8 months. Inside was a will that changed everything, and the man who had hidden it was already spending the inheritance. Frank Delano was 71 years old and had spent his career as a civil engineer in Phoenix, Arizona. He had never married. He had no children. His closest relationship had always been with his niece, Melissa, his younger brother's daughter, who had visited him every Sunday for 15 years without fail. Frank had told Melissa more than once that she was the daughter he never had. His attorney knew it. His neighbors knew it. Everyone who knew Frank Delano knew that Melissa would inherit everything. Except Scott. Scott Delano was Frank's nephew from a distant branch of the family. He appeared at Frank's door in the summer of 2020, claiming he wanted to reconnect. Frank welcomed him. Frank was generous that way. Scott stayed for 3 weeks, helped around the house, and learned everything he needed to know about Frank's finances before leaving. Frank Delano passed away in October of 2021. Heart failure, peaceful and sudden. Scott arrived at the house within 48 hours. He told Melissa he was there to help with arrangements. What he was actually doing was searching the house. He found Frank's legitimate will in a fireproof box in the study. It left everything to Melissa. $2.9 million in property, savings, and investments. Scott removed the will and hid it behind a basement wall panel he had noticed during his earlier stay. Then he contacted a document forger he had found through a contact in Las Vegas and paid $4,000 for a replacement will, leaving everything to Scott. He submitted the forged will to Maricopa County Probate Court 3 weeks after the funeral. Melissa was blindsided. She knew her uncle's intentions. She had heard him say it herself. She hired an attorney named Rachel Torres, a probate specialist in Phoenix, who immediately requested a full inspection of the property before any assets were liquidated. During that inspection, a court-appointed investigator noticed the loose basement panel. Behind it was the envelope. Inside was Frank's original will, still in the fireproof box sleeve, dated 2018, properly witnessed, and signed by Frank Delano and his attorney of 9 years. Scott was arrested the following morning. The hearing was held before the Honorable Judge Alan Mercer at Maricopa County Probate Court. Rachel Torres presented the original will, the forensic document analysis confirming the submitted will was forged, and phone records showing Scott had contacted the Las Vegas forger 4 days after Frank's death. Scott's attorney argued the original will was outdated and that Frank had expressed different wishes verbally in his final months. Rachel Torres asked him to name a single witness. He could not. Judge Alan Mercer declared the forged will void and awarded the full estate to Melissa Delano as specified in the legitimate 2018 document. Scott Delano was charged with probate fraud and forgery. He was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in Arizona State Prison. Melissa Delano used a portion of her inheritance to establish a small engineering scholarship in her uncle's name at Arizona State University. Frank had always believed in young people who worked with their hands. Some people make their wishes perfectly clear. It takes real courage to make sure those wishes are honored. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Justice Journals for more true crime courtroom stories every week. And tell us in the comments, have you ever made sure your own will is safely stored?